Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens from 2015, directed by J.J. Abrams, and of course the first in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. So yes, we are back once again, ready to discuss Star Wars, this time around Episode 7, and yes, before we get into this, a spoiler warning: if you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it and then come back to this discussion, and we can go from there, and you won't get any, kind of plot points given to you before you've seen the film, so just, hopefully you can watch the film before, coming to this, review. So yes, with all that said, let's dig in to my thoughts on this film, and I do look forward to as well in the comments discussing this film, and I look forward to just respectful as always Star Wars discussions. So I look forward to that, and yeah, let's discuss my thoughts. Let's go back to when I first saw this film, and I was in school. When I first heard about this, I was very hyped, and I guess at that point, I'd seen obviously Star Wars so many times over the years, especially the originals, and that was the the trilogy that I truly loved, and for me the prequels, overall just wasn't really something that I loved, although I did particularly as I've obviously said recently on the channel, I did really respond well to Revenge of the Sith, and other than that though, I didn't really enjoy the first two at that point, and was so long, waiting in between Revenge of the Sith and this film, and even hearing about this being made, obviously, and we heard obviously that George Lucas would not be really involved in this, and he did pitch ideas, but they were basically completely rejected, as we come to know over the years, and it would be interesting to have seen what it would have turned out, the whole trilogy, if he had been more involved, but obviously we had the whole massive event there with Lucas and all the kind of news there. I was thinking, wow, what would this be like? I was so hyped, and so kind of at the same time I was kind of nervous. Really, it was quite unexpected in some regards, kind of move, and yeah, just I was thinking, okay, it's coming out, in 2015. That's what eventually we were told, and it was quite a long wait even then, and I just thought, wow, what is this going to be like? I just couldn't wait to see this, and saw it in between the week in between Christmas and New Year, obviously 2015, and went to actually see this at the cinema. Actually, I've never done that with a Star Wars film before, so there we go. That's actually a one-off when you think about that. I haven't seen any other Star Wars films in the cinema. It's just not really something I've done. But yeah, saw this, one of the best experiences I've ever had at the cinema. No one was really talking. We had a couple of coughs, but obviously that's fine. But no one was talking on their phones, all this kind of stuff. So wow, that was great, and just the atmosphere, in the room, it was very, very different. It was one of those experiences that was just, clearly everyone really in the room wanted to see this film, and it was just such a great experience. Wow, coming out of the cinema, I was just so pumped. I just thought, wow, that was such a great experience, and what a great film for me personally. This really delivers. I was blown away by this, seeing it, and I just thought every single thing about this film, it reeled me in. It delivered, and the hopes I had, overtaken by this film personally, and I just feel, all the new characters that were introduced, coming out of the cinema, I thought, I cannot wait to see these new characters, in the next films, and what a ride, what an introduction to all these characters, bring back obviously existing characters, the interactions between the new and the old. And the sense of a new beginning, but unearthing legends, the lore, everything that's happened in particularly the originals. It's kind of all coming out of the woodwork, as we say, and I just loved the way it kind of played on the originals, and the previous Star Wars films, and it was also something very, very new and very exciting to see where it would go. But yeah, from start to finish, I was so immersed. I was very surprised when I first saw this, and all the characters, the performances, Daisy Ridley, obviously, and we have Oscar Isaac and of course John Boyega. You know, these three in particular, as the three, you know, the kind of the trio of new characters. You know, I just couldn't be happier, and every single character got hilarious moments. You know, and moments that you really got, you know, I got invested in so much, and seeing how they, as I say, interacted with, you know, for example, Carrie Fisher's Leia Organa. You know, just in particular was so great, and of course Harrison Ford as Han Solo. You know, the moments when they're all together really on screen, some of my favourites, and you know, just wow, I was blown away. And every single time since, I've just loved this. You know, kind of in a way more and more, and just always a comfort return. You know, for me personally, you know, to this film, and you know, just what an introduction for me. I just think overall this film really pretty much perfectly sets up this new kind of, not just this new trilogy, but this whole new universe really, and you know, kind of you could say a rebirth to the Star Wars franchise. What an experience first time, but you know, every time since, you know, it's just such a great, you know, comfort return, and just for me a perfect, as I say, introduction to this new sequel trilogy. And the main plot of this film kind of sees, you know, the Resistance, you know, trying to overtake the First Order, of course, who are attempting to kind of end the New Republic, and you know, of course, we have at the same time as all this big scale stuff, we have the kind of search for Luke Skywalker, of course, and Leia, you know, explains this in the film, you know, saying that he's gone missing, and the search for Luke though is kind of, it's not really something that it's at the back of the mind because he doesn't show up until the very end, obviously, but it does drive the narrative as well as you know, just seeing, you know, what these characters are doing, how they grow, how they interact, and yeah, we have, you know, so many different characters introduced. Obviously, Kylo Ren is introduced very soon into the film, and we have that epic introduction, of course, which, you know, masterfully for me, at the same time introduces characters like Finn and Poe Dameron, and you know, Finn is, you know, someone who is part of the First Order, and the genius kind of you know, way in which his character is shown to have a change of heart, and you know, when he's really tested, you know, in that sense, and you know, he does throughout the rest of the film, you know, try to help the Resistance. Obviously, we have the dramatic irony of him not revealing at first, obviously, that he was part of the First Order. Two different characters, like Rey, obviously, but you know, that adds a lot of complexity to his character, and I think, you know, he's one of the best characters in this trilogy. You know, I think really is the most complex, and you know, I think seeing him and Rey in particular, that is just so great. You know, interactions there, the chemistry. One of the great things about this film, the chemistry is just perfect between all the new characters, and how they kind of interact as well with the older characters. You know, the previous entries in the Star Wars franchise. It's just so perfect. Harrison Ford and Daisy Ridley and John Boyega, you know, just wow, it's just so perfect to me. The way in which they interact, and we've got comedy, of course, and just the way in which Han, you know, gives us exposition, and he's, you know, explained different things to our new characters. You know, I thought it was just so well done. Just the way in which the Force is gradually, you know, brought back into the into the forefront, really, and it's such a great, you know, kind of mysterious film. This, you know, it's full of mystery and kind of unearthing the previous legacy, I guess, of the franchise. It's just done so well. The world building, you know, it's very gradually and patiently done. You know, I think it really is stunning. At the same time, we have a constant, you know, sense of energy and drive to this film and narrative momentum. Such an adventure, this one. It really is, and you know, it's just perfectly setting up for me, as I say, this new sequel trilogy. And you know, every time I see this, you know, I will say I'm just so hyped. But it's just, for me, and I won't kind of get into full thoughts or spoilers for the next entries. But it's also kind of a shame, just personally for me, that this perfect setup was never, you know, kind of. You know, I don't think they delivered with the next entries in you know, at least the sequel trilogy. I'm not talking about the spin-offs, but you know, seeing, you know, the end of this film is always just, you know, hype, you know, epicness. But then, you know, the kind of you know, we didn't, you know, for me at least, get you know, that kind of standard at all in the next entries, and it went in completely different directions. That's the thing as well. You know, it's just so baffling. But yes, regardless of that, you know, for me, in cinema in general, every single film is, you know, its own thing, and it doesn't have to, you know, if I see said films after, you know, kind of from even in the trilogy franchise, it doesn't affect, you know, at all my enjoyment of, you know, that film. Films are separate, you know, it doesn't ever taint, I guess that's what I'm trying to, the experience of, for example, this film, and, you know, I can watch this as a kind of standalone film, but, you know, as a kind of a what if as well, you know, kind of where it would go after this, and, you know, just doesn't affect my enjoyment. But it is, you know, that kind of afterthought is, for me at least, a shame, because, you know, there's so many things set up in this, so many things I was looking forward to as well, you know, going forward, but I guess, you know, I can still, you know, enjoy this film as much as I did, and you know, to me, this is just so stunning, so legendary, and you know, being the first, you know, in this trilogy, it doesn't matter as much anyway. But yes, we have obviously the first act being, you know, straight away in there, you know, kind of investing, you know, loads of action, and then we kind of go to Jakku, and we have obviously Rey, you know, kind of being introduced there, and you know, she is this scavenger, of course, and someone who, as well, we have this companion of BB-8, and you know, I thought BB-8 in this film was perfect, a great, you know, addition, you know, really cute, and just so kind of enjoyable the way it's done, you know, between Rey and BB-8, and you know, I loved as well just the sense of scale to this. I just love the sense of wonder, you know, in Jakku as well, you know, seeing the kind of the very you know, kind of quiet moments with Rey, just kind of yeah, scavenging and kind of walking around. And the music, once again, John Williams. Now, this is a score for me that is just so stunning, as always with John Williams. But you know, the sense of a new beginning, you know, and kind of also unearthing this kind of mystery, this whole kind of backstory, this history, you know, of what's happened previously. Obviously, this being set 30 years after Return of the Jedi, you know, in the timeline. So stunning to kind of set this up and have this, you know, this kind of adventurous, you know, kind of fun, you know, kind of high energy, you know, kind of installment with the score, obviously, and then as well, you know, kind of the underlying, you know, kind of backstory here. It's all kind of perfectly portrayed in the score, and we have obviously Rey's theme being a standout for me, the scavenger as well, and just different moments in the film, the finale as well, you know, of course, the Jedi steps, you know, and all this. It's just stunning. It really, really is. And as well, just the sound design to this film, you know, I thought was brilliant. You know, wow. As well, you know, I think the jewels in this film, you know, the way it's kind of the sound design there, you know, and just all the effects visually and audio wise throughout. Absolutely stunning. Couldn't really fault it. And one of the things in this film as well, which we'll get to a bit more, is the duels, you know, the kind of the action, but you know, especially, you know, the lightsaber duels. For me, it's just so great. You know, I think much more of a return to the physicality and being the extension, you know, of characters' emotions and how they're, as well, you know, the interactions in the environments. I thought was much more realistic in this film again, and one of the only comparisons I would make to the prequels, because I don't really want to do that, is I do, you know, I had, you know, not really, you know, obviously the Darth Maul, you know, kind of the duel, you know, in the Phantom Menace, I thought was absolutely stunning, and you know, that was a real standout one. But really, other than that, you know, most of the other ones did not feel fully physical. You know, the visceral feeling, you know, that real kind of hard edge. You know, I didn't really feel that at all. It was too showy for me. So in this, it was great, you know, for me to at least to see more physicality. You know, I thought the duels were way better overall, and you know, just, you know, it felt real once again, and that can be said for the visuals to this film. I didn't really feel like the background or the foreground, you know, was separate. I didn't feel like the backgrounds were there, you know, kind of separate to the characters. You know, it was all as one. It felt like to me, you know, it's just so well done in this. The use of CGI and also, you know, the practicality of this film. You know, I thought it was a wonderful balance, and you know, it just looked so stunning. This film, it looked so real once again, and you know, just the sense of wonder is just so wonderful. You know, seeing obviously different planets, you know, that we've not seen really before, and just the way it's kind of shot, and the way we have visual storytelling here. You know, it's wonderful. The wide shots, you know, just wonderful stuff here. You know, I think a really patient film in the way it's done visually, and just zips along. You know, a wonderful sense of narrative momentum. Of course, The editing in this film, you know, for me, is stunning, and we just have a wonderful flow. You know, just moving in between scenes and acts. You know, very breezily, but you know, fully engaged in this film. But it never, you know, kind of is abrupt. Really, it never, you know, kind of grinds to a halt. It's just constantly going, and you know, to the very end. And you know, I think every time I see this film, you know, I recognise that more and more. It has got, you know, a wonderful flow, and it is masterfully for me shot and edited. I personally feel it just really is, and I think, yes, you know, seeing the kind of introduction of the characters, you know, always so invested in these characters, and you know, the comedy is key. You know, we have once again a great use of comedy to kind of ground the characters, make them more believable and more enjoyable, and just add, you know, that sense of charm, you know, camaraderie to the film. And then we of course have moments later in the film that are very emotional, and you know, I think it never kind of upsets the tone of this film. You know, that's one of the things. The tone is so consistent, you know, throughout. You know, it just never breaks. And I feel J.J. Abrams in this film done such a great job. He really did, and just commanding that, and you know, controlling the tone of this film. And obviously, the score plays a hand in that. You know, just so perfect, as always with Star Wars. You know, John Williams. You know, what can I say? You know, a real master. My personal favourite film composer, and you know, it's just it's such a treat to see him, you know, kind of composing in this trilogy as well, and all the new themes in this, and also bring back, you know, the kind of the Star Wars music, of course, of the past. It really is something else. The Force, the way that the kind of rendition of that, you know, in this film is stunning. And yeah, we have the first act being just such a perfect one, and then in the middle we have, you know, for example, characters like Han Solo and Chewbacca coming back into the film, and you know, kind of meeting our new characters. We see the Millennium Falcon, you know, the way in which that's introduced. You know, early on it is great, and then, you know, Han Solo, though, the way, you know, he kind of returns, you know, as we go into the middle portion of the film, you know, of Chewbacca, one of my favourite moments, easily, and I just think it's such a kind of you know, organic way, natural way in which he is introduced, and then you know, he's kind of helping our new characters, obviously, and then later on in the film we do have the very, very shocking at the time for me, you know, obviously Han Solo death. You know, I just thought, wow, you know, that was you know, and I don't really I will say, you know, I don't have flaws with this film personally, but there's one thing really that I've never really been sure of. It just isn't. It's not something I hate. No, you know, definitely. It's not something that's like other different films that I've seen over the years, where they, you know, they kill off a character, and I just thought, you know, why did they do that? You know, that's really bad. It doesn't make sense. But you know, in this film, I've just never really been sure, or you know, I never really thought, you know, I know how to feel about that. You know, it's many years on since this, and I'm still a bit unsure of that. You know, I must say. So that's just what I'll say there. You know, unsure about the Han Solo death, if it needed to happen at all, and if it needed to happen in this film. Obviously, it does set up, you know, different things, motivations. You know, kind of it kind of builds on, obviously, tragic aspects of, for example, Kylo Ren, which we'll get to, obviously. You know, Adam Driver, of course. You know, him. The interactions there, you know, it was great interactions. But you know, all this kind of stuff, yeah, I understand it. You know, but I think, did it really need to happen? You know, I'm still unsure about that, so I won't really say, you know, I won't floor the film, you know, and all this for that, but I'm just still a bit confused and baffled about how I feel. So there we go. That's quite a rare occurrence for me. But yes, obviously we do have Kylo Ren, as we've mentioned, being the main kind of villain of this film. You know, he is so great. Obviously, Adam Driver portrays this character so well. You know, I think when he's got the mask on, and you know, when he takes it off, absolute perfection in this film. You know, I just think as well, him and Daisy Ridley together, you know, in that final act especially, wow, really something else. You know, I thought the duel there, you know, just the shocking nature of, you know, his anger, I guess, his hate. It's just so wonderfully done. Adam Driver really perfects this performance, and you know, I think Kylo Ren is so great. You know, the couple of comedic moments as well in this film with Kylo Ren, but mainly, you know, he is just such a menace. You know, you really feel that threat, and you know, just I think the kind of conflict within him is just once again perfectly done. Obviously, we have Snoke in this film as well, who obviously in this film is more mysterious, you know, I guess, and great nonetheless. And you know, I think just all of the villains. We have General Hux as well in this film. Domhnall Gleeson. You know, I thought he was great, and yeah, just you know, a really interesting mix of different you know, villains. You know, side characters as well around the First Order, and as I say, you know, the way it starts off, you know, with that great complex kind of turn of you know, Finn, you know, him kind of defecting from you know, the First Order, and then helping the Resistance throughout the rest of obviously the film to you know, kind of try to, you know, beat the First Order, obviously, and so many things set up in this film, but it never gets bogged down. The exposition is just so stunning, and you know, as I say, that flow, you know, it has such an energy, such a kind of innocence as well at times to the film. You know, it's this kind of innocent, feel-good, light-hearted blockbuster, but one that I can fully take seriously, and just fully get invested in the lore, and you know, just it's one of those films. It really is. Obviously, it has been compared to A New Hope. I don't compare it at all. You know, it's a different film. It's its own film. Obviously, it does in structure kind of you could say compare to A New Hope, and the way in which the tone is kind of more light-hearted. But you know, I guess so many trilogies, you know, I guess are like this. You know, where you start off more lighter, and then it's usually in the middle act, you know, middle film where we go a bit darker, and you know, stuff, and perhaps, you know, even in the final one, and then obviously things come about there. But so I guess, you know, that is just a general you know, observation. You know, I guess it's not really something where I feel that they're rehashing too much. You know, New Hope. Obviously, New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. You know, all these films are some of my absolute favourites in cinema. You know, so as long as a film, you know, kind of is its own thing and it's sincere and it's not, you know, copying. You know, I'm great. You know, I love, you know, I feel, you know, the way in which, you know, it can compare to, and it can be a bit similar at times to a film that I love. It doesn't bother me at all. You know, that's thumbs up for me. You know, it has to be its own thing, obviously. But yeah, and I guess this film, for me, fully is its own thing. It just is. You know, obviously, it's interesting how we have, you know, kind of comparisons made to A New Hope, and I guess, you know, it's quite interesting. It does kind of at times, you know, on paper feel like that, but you know, yes, it's great how we have this in that sense, though, adventurous, you know, kind of you know, film, light-hearted, and then it does turn a bit darker and sets up the kind of the conflict, the drama, and the tragedy, you know, for the later films in the trilogy. And regardless of how I think they turned out, you know, I think this is the perfect setup for that. How we have Kylo Ren, you know, his character being set up, and obviously Han Solo. Yeah, I guess it does play a hand in, you know, the death of Han Solo. How we have Kylo Ren's motivations, and, you know, all it's been fully set up, and you know what will happen in the later films. Obviously, him being revealed as Ben Kenobi in this film. You know, so you know, so much going on here. Stuff that, you know, you could say is predictable, but also shocking at the same time. It's inevitable, I guess. And you know, for us, regardless of if it is predictable, the way it was done was stunning, and you know, just the interaction between Han and Leia as well in this film is just stunning. Obviously, Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher together in this film, it really is something else to cherish as well. Obviously, the very tragic passing, you know, of Carrie Fisher, really, really sad, obviously, and we never got, you know, the three of them, I guess, you know, all together, you know, fully. So, you know, that's very sad. You know, I guess it's kind of, it's just one of those things. You know, it's just, you know, what can you say? It's just so sad. But you know, in this film, you know, Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, you know, wonderful interactions. You know, I just think, you know, just Carrie Fisher, you know, what a wonderful actress, and you know, just you know, she was so great in this film, and you know, really carried different scenes as well. You know, between when she was talking to our new characters, you know, it was movie magic, and you know, it really was. You know, it just worked perfectly throughout the entire film. All the interactions, the performances are stunning in this film for me. Every single character is interesting, you know, complex, and just so enjoyable as well. And just for me overall, you know, just the entire spirits of this, you know, it's just truly magical to me. The sense of scale to this film is so grand, so epic, majestic, and we also have so many different intimate moments, you know, small details. It's just so genius. BB-8 as well, thinking on that, you know, throughout the entire film. But you know, just when, you know, there's a kind of the curiosity of BB-8, you know, and kind of towards R2D2, and you know, obviously R2 does come back, you know, at the very end of the film, really, you know, come back, and C-3PO as well. All the interactions there, it's just great, you know, Star Wars, and of course, yeah, just the use of locations, such a variety, but, you know, I love the lore of each, you know, kind of location, and everything around that, and yeah, we have so many different characters, side characters, that, you know, we're not going to get into all of them, but just the entire film, you know, I love the entire experience, all the characters introduced, all the returning characters, you know, I really love everything about this film. As I've said, you know, the Han Solo death, though, I'm still very unsure of, but really it's not something that I would, you know, floor the film for. It's just a very, it's a personal thing. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. You know, did I really feel that was necessary? But you know, it was done so wonderfully. You know, at least in a human way. You know, in a tragic sense, with all the different characters' reactions to that. So you know, it's a very moving scene. So as I say, it doesn't you know kind of take away from the experience. But you know, other than that, you know, I think I know that I love every single aspect of this film. The way it's shot, the sense of wonder and hope, obviously, and just the sense of adventure. You know, it's just a film that I can put on, you know, for comfort and to be whisked away, obviously, to this world. You know, I just think it's so physical as well. You know, we have obviously CGI, but you know, it feels much more practical, this film, and the way it's shot, absolutely stunning. You know, these big vistas, and also, as I say, small details that I really appreciate in this film, and all up to, you know, the final act, you know, the ending, which I'll quickly mention. Obviously, finally seeing Luke Skywalker and obviously Rey. Just every time that, you know, I see that when Rey kind of goes up the steps there, you know, we have the camera movement as well there. You know, just you know, the music kicking in there, and just Luke, obviously with the hood. You know, absolutely stunning. You know, the lightsaber, you know, being held. What an ending! You know, obviously just absolutely stunning, and you know, every single time you know, it just brings me that kind of the shivers. You know, just it really gives me goosebumps in that sense, and just you know, wow, the hype to obviously the next films. It's always there, and you know, just especially though the first time I saw this, you know, the hype, you know, what would kind of come about from the next films in this franchise. Just, you know, nothing will ever take away that initial experience of the film, which is entirely separate. And you know, is right now, you know, after seeing it recently, the experience is the same, if not greater, for me of the film. But the added, you know, experience of I hadn't seen, you know, any obviously other Star Wars film after this. It was all kind of what if, you know, what would it be like, you know, up to your own imagination. You know, wow, it's going to be great, you know, kind of thing. And I kind of assumed that J.J. Abrams would direct maybe all three, and you know, sort of kind of stuff. I did think it'd be at least more consistent regardless of who directed, you know, the later films. But you know, there was that initial just you know, nothing can go wrong kind of thing, and the kind of I guess, you know, back then, you know, things were more consistent anyway, you know, blockbusters. You know, in recent years, things have kind of, it's been a bit more expected for me to kind of not get my hopes up, I guess, just for me. But that initial experience of, you know, seeing this film and just, you know, wow, you know, I cannot wait until the next, you know, films in the trilogy. You know, that was something else, that really was. But, you know, this film, as I say, it's standalone. You know, every single film is for me, and, you know, it doesn't affect my enjoyment of this film. But what can I say? This is one of my favourites. You know, I think, you know, there are better Star Wars films for me, ones that I prefer. But you know, regardless, not taking away from this film, it's such a perfect for me introduction to this trilogy, and to, you know, kickstart in general. You know, this whole you know, resurgence of this great franchise. You know, I love this film so much. I really, really do. The score to this film, the visuals, just the way it's set up, the way it ends, you know, the middle act, you know, wow, the flow of this film is so great. And as I say, the performances, the characters, just how fun this film is, you know, how adventurous it is, but also so investing and, you know, full of mystery, and the sense of wonder that is just so stunning to behold. It really is, and just, it's majestic, it's grand, but it's very, very personal as well, I feel, just for me. And yes, what can I say? It's on my favourite films list, The Force Awakens. You know, I just think this film for me has always been a masterpiece, and you know, my final rating for this film is 100% plus tier 2. So yes, an extremely high score for me. Obviously, when it's 100%, and it gets very high into my list, and it gets into the plus tiers, it starts to go tier 3, 2, 1, and then obviously the very rare S. For me, this is an easy 2. I just think it's in my top 250 favourite films. Absolutely love this film. Blows me away every time, and I really love everything about this. As I say, one thing that I'm unsure of, but other than that, it is for me a masterpiece, and one of the greatest modern blockbusters for me of all time. Everything about this, the characters, the writing, the way it's shot, different sequences that you can kind of just get some enjoyment from, but the whole narrative, the whole way in which it's this new beginning, this new chapter in this existing franchise, that is perfectly portrayed, and all the kind of conflict and the First Order and the way it's set up just couldn't have been better for me. Kylo Ren, what a great character in this film, wow, so great, and it's the relationships, the interactions between different characters and how they kind of they will have this kind of connection, just like the originals. It's just that was it's one of the things it really brought back, that feeling. It's all connected and all kind of it means something, and just chemistry, performances obviously that are just so flawless, in this film for me, just like the originals. It's just and then seeing obviously Han Solo, obviously Leia, wonderful Carrie Fisher, all these different existing characters, interactions, with these new characters as well. And what can I say? For me, it's just the perfect, kind of start to a trilogy. And yeah, that's my thoughts on The Force Awakens. For me, a legendary masterpiece, and I really do, love this film so much from start to finish. It's just an adventure like no other, of recent years and recent decades, and yeah, just love this film. That's my thoughts. What do you think of this? It'd be great to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of this, and how do you, what was your experiences of seeing this film? Did you see it at the cinema? What was your first, watch of this film? What was it like? It'd be great to hear all this stuff and discuss respectfully, of course, in the comments about Star Wars. And next up is Rogue One. So obviously going to Rogue One, then The Last Jedi. Obviously after that, going through all these films, the recent Star Wars films chronologically. So not just talking about The Last Jedi next. We'll do Rogue One first. So there we go. Because I'm going to be watching that very soon. In the next week or so, and obviously gradually going through these films again. Seen all of them now, so obviously seen Rise of Skywalker and all these. So there'll be rewatches, of course, and discuss these on the channel. So look forward to that and all things discussing Star Wars. So yes, as always, take care and thanks for watching.